Hi there, and welcome to the video portion of my electronic portfolio. My name is Kevin McManamon. I am a candidate for the Masters of Educational Technology through Boise State University. And a little bit about myself, a little background. I've been teaching in public high schools for over 20 years, all of it in the Pacific Northwest, and I have been a social studies teacher for that time. I have been very involved in integrating technology into my classroom practices for the bulk of that time. However, it was, as I now reflect on it, it really was without a direct intent or purpose. It was a cool technology, or it was a neat distraction in a sense. And what I've learned through this program is as I'll point out in the succeeding sections, is that there really needs to be a sound, theory-based purpose for the implementation of the technology. So I will take you through a couple of segments here and show you some of the artifacts that I am proud of and have changed the way I teach, and have changed the approach that I take towards integrating technology in the classroom. One of the overall themes that I hope you take away from this video, and that upon reflection has really made a big impact on me and my approach to teaching, is the theme of change. This program has changed the way that I approach teaching. It has changed the way that I view technology. I have shifted away from just using technology for technology's sake to a system where I very purposely ask myself the question as I plan lessons and units: does this improve student educational outcomes? If so, can technology play a role in that? The theme of change is very obvious in that technology itself is changing. Our learners are changing, and we need to change the way that we address them to give them the 21st century skills that they're going to need in a world that is going to have a rapid pace of change in its own right. One of the areas that changed for me early on in my EdTech program was when I, through my EdTech 504 class, where we explored different learning theories and we delved into the epistemologies of the study of that, and it really shifted my mindset of what the purpose of education is, and particularly the leadership role that I play in the classroom. What is that purpose? And so that underwent significant change. I was personally struck by the social constructivist theories of Vygotsky, in that the learning that takes place is very much based in our relationships with peers and relationships with those who have greater knowledge or greater skill set. So one of the things that I find myself thankfully almost unconsciously doing and creating in my classroom now is taking advantage of that zone of proximal development that Vygotsky identified in my structuring of the groups and structuring of my lessons. And I'm also seeking ways to underlie that with the technological tools that I have at my disposal, that I can exploit those social constructivist forces that we've learned about in that EdTech 504 class. Another one of the areas in which I've undergone personal change or shift in thinking is when I came in contact with the notion of seeking out the relative advantage that certain technologies that we have at our disposal in the classroom can play in creating environments where students are going to be able to learn and demonstrate their learning to a degree that they would not be able to were that technology not in place. So the project that I put together in EdTech 541 really forced me to look at all the disciplines and all the different learning styles, all different learners' needs, and seek out that relative advantage that technology can play. The simple implementation of technology as I used to do it prior to this program does not have a defensible reason if the learning outcome is the same. So that relative advantage has struck with me, and when I talk with my peers, I bring that term up a lot. I say, well, what is the relative advantage of using such and such a technology? Is the learning outcome going to be better? Is the learning outcome going to be in itself based on and supported by sound learning theories? And can the, as I said earlier, can the technology really leverage that to a different outcome that would not be attainable were it not for that type of technology? So I'll show you a screenshot here of the project that I put together for the EdTech 541 class, in which I had to go across all disciplines and all different learning styles to seek out ways of finding those leveraged technologies. This screenshot of technology integration with relative advantage for social studies outcomes demonstrates how you can leverage technology for events like simulations, real-time data analysis, and up-to-the-minute global news feeds. Additionally, in EdTech 541, I was challenged to find relative advantages for the uses of technologies to increase student outcomes educationally in disciplines that I didn't have any direct experience with. Here's a screenshot of the adaptive and assistive technologies that I was able to find for learners with special needs. And here's another screenshot for art and music students. Again, two areas where I didn't have any direct experience with, and so this really opened my eyes to the role that technology can leverage different student outcomes in the educational experience. Another area of change for me personally as an educator came from the experience I had in my EdTech 503 instructional design class. Creating the instructional design project forced me to look at the actual process of development of units and lesson plans. I developed a very short unit on having high school freshman students in a social studies class create a blog using blogger.com. Sounds like a simple process, but when you truly approach it with sound instructional design principles, it can be a very involved process, and what you think may not actually be what is transferred to the student. So setting up a goal statement, finding out the actual needs of the students through a survey, making sure that the context of the learning situation and learning environment is truly what you think it is. We all have blind spots, and we need to examine it very closely to make sure that our objectives are matching up with the reality of the needs of the students. Development of the materials for the learner, development of the materials for the teacher as if you weren't there. It was a very healthy process for me to go through. Developing all the formative and summative assessments, having my instructional design project looked at by a subject matter expert, all gave me incredible feedback on how important that instructional design process is and to not take it for granted. This is a screenshot of the instructional design project that I created for the flowchart for the EdTech 503 class, and you can see it's quite involved in that what sounds like a very simple process, when you stop and think about it, really needs to be broken down into its steps that are going to be clear and direct the learners using the relative technologies towards outcomes that would not be possible were it not for those technologies in the classroom. Here's a screenshot of the project-based learning class that I took in EdTech 542, in which this actually reinforced activities and practices that I'd long held with or without technologies in my classroom. Was the fact that student-centered learning was vital to creating genuine products that had real meaning for students and learners. What was new to me was the realization that 21st century skills need to be embedded in those types of activities, as we're going to produce learners who are going to be moving into the world on their own, and they need to be able to meet these challenges that they're going to find in any field of work or any form of education that they're going to encounter down the road. So keeping your focus on student-centered learning was something that the project-based learning activities in this class were really, really helpful to keep my focus on. The leveraging of the technologies to improve their learning and give them ways to demonstrate their learnings was really the highlight of this class for me. Another area of change in my approach towards the role that technology can play in education is my awareness now of the communities of practice concept, in which my role as a element of change, as a spokesperson for the theory-based use of educational technology, has really altered my relationships with my peers to the better. Inside my department, the social studies department of my school, inside the school that I'm at, inside the district that I'm at, I've assumed a role of leadership in working with other teachers and developing ways in which we can utilize technology for the benefit of the students, to project them into the 21st century with this skill set that they're going to desperately need to compete in the world. And the relationships that I've been able to build and the things that I've been able to learn from and to teach other teachers has been most rewarding, and has been the unexpected byproduct of this educational technology program for me personally, and that I've been able to share and learn from other peers while I'm going through this process as a student at Boise State as well. One of the last areas of change that I'd like to speak about is my questioning of what is my learning environment today. The 21st century skills that these students need, the 21st century access that is present in my room, creates a bit of a hybrid setting. I still teach in a very traditional type school, but the learning activities in which I'm asking my students to engage in really do border on time not being sensitive, a very asynchronous nature. So the class that I took in the K-12 online learning very much expanded my thought process as, well, how much time do I need in class? How much time am I going to ask my students to engage in away from class? The games and simulation class that I took has radically altered the way that I approach future design aspects of classes that I teach, in that I desire to move things towards a gaming or simulation route to engage those learners that previously are turned off by traditional methods from the 21st century, or from the 20th century, that is. So what is my learning environment is a question I'm continually asking myself, and the undercurrent is always, well, what role can technology play in bettering that learning environment for my students? So in summation, change really has been an important part of the experience that I've had through Boise State University in this educational technologies program. The change in my teaching style, the change in my approach to instructional design, the change in my understanding of what technology is and what role it can play in the classroom, the change of the nature of my classroom, has all been made very apparent to me as I reflect back upon my learning. Our students are going to be entering a world where they're going to need 21st century skills, and change is going to be a massive part of their life. And so we need to adapt them and equip them with the sound learning theories that are going to give them the ability to roll with those changes and to be productive members of the societies that they inhabit.